Okay, folks, Andrew Bobros here. So, interesting signing we had just yesterday. Nyheim Hines, running back and special team player, just signed with the Chargers. Had to work out on Monday. Plenty to talk about. Pretty interesting story because it is very similar to what we saw with, unfortunately, Najee Harris. So, plenty to talk about this video, guys. As always, let's get into it. Okay, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Bopros. So Nyheim Hines has been signed, and a pretty interesting story with him. It is fairly similar to Najee Harris, but again, he has not played for the past 2 seasons because of a knee injury. How did he get that knee injury, you might ask? Well, it wasn't a football injury. Sadly, he tore his left ACL when he was with the Buffalo Bills in July of 2023 when he was struck by a personal watercraft, aka jet ski. Before the injury, he was set to go into training as Buffalo's primary kick and punt returner. So it's unfortunate, folks, right? Look, at the end of the day, these players' bodies are everything to them. And unfortunately, situations like this can derail people's careers. And, it's really an unfortunate situation. So then, brings me to the same conversation. Well, what about Najee Harris, right? Hit in the eye with a firework, right? You hear that. That sounds terrible. Maybe it's worse than we really think it is. I mean, we've talked about this a few times on our podcast. And so I don't know. What do you think? Does this present some damning evidence that Najee Harris's injury is much worse than we've even been told? Because clearly the Chargers are saying, oh, no big deal. Nothing to see here. He'll be ready for week 1, yada, yada. We'll see. Now, full disclosure, I'll just say this out of the box. He hasn't played in 2 years. He was actually with the Cleveland Browns in 2024. Did not play because of his injury, of course. So he's had really 2 years to get his knee right. But what is he really, right? What is he really to the Chargers? I would say he's a camp body at this point. And he's got to show people that he can still play. J.K. Dobbins, another great example, right? J.K. Dobbins has the juice, but unfortunately, he's had a lot of injuries with his knees, and it makes it hard to be successful as a running back. It's a pretty important part of your body. So bottom line, he's a camp body, but at the end of the day, he's going to have 4 games in preseason to show that he can actually be a good running back. So he will get a lot of reps, I assure you, or at least they'll try to evaluate him that way to some degree. So I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with him. But he did work out with the Chargers on Monday and was clearly signed that same day. So they saw what they wanted with him as well, too. Now, rushing is a point of emphasis for the Chargers. We all know this, and it's really Omarion Hampton is getting a lot of touches at camp at this point. And again, with Najee Harris out till, who knows when, right? Omarion most likely will still continue getting the rep 1, RB1 reps. So, but again, you want to make sure you have enough players in there. Now, again, a couple of people I talked about as far as the running back room. Kamani Vidal has looked really good so far. He's much bigger. He looked more ready to go. Hassan Haskins did great for the Chargers, was a special teams guy, but who knows? Maybe Hines, if he plays well enough, might be that guy. Again, punt return specialist is important as well, too. We'll have to see how that plays out. And Jarrett Patterson's obviously looked okay. We'll see how that plays out as well. And Raheem Sanders has missed the past 3 days of practice. Why is that? So you do have to wonder, what's going on with Sanders, what's going on with some of these running backs. Again, I think Raheem Sanders specifically being out, it does show that they do need a camp body, right? And I think that's another reason why this signing made some sense. Now, it is interesting to see, where this plays out. Now, let's just recap what he's done in the NFL as a running back, right? Hines he's 28 years old, by the way, just so you know, has an accumulated almost 3,000 scrimmage yards and totaled 18 touchdowns in his career and began with the Indianapolis Colts, as I'm showing you right now. He was selected him in the 4th round of the 2018 draft. He has returned 2 punt returns and 2 kickoff returns for scores. So, look, at the end of the day, a lot of this information comes from Chris Ram. Guys, check him out on Twitter as well, too. Does a really great job of covering this team. But, bottom line, folks, it's interesting to see that we're still grabbing bodies. And, as Jim Harbaugh likes to say, guys, competitors welcome. At the end of the day, the best ability is availability. At the end of the day, if you cannot play, Raheem Sanders clearly cannot play. Najee Harris is clearly struggling to be able to be on the field. Again, don't even know the severity of that situation. I'm assuming it was really bad. We probably would have let him go already. But at the end of the day, who knows, right? Yeah, this is a really interesting. This is why veterans sit out as long as they do in a lot of cases. People like Keenan Allen keep talking about wanting to come play, even if they do want to play. A team is going to eventually walk up to him and say, "Hey, look, man, we lost our wide receiver 1 in camp. Can you play? We'd love to have you on our team. We'll pay you a bundle of cash, and we'd love to have you. What do you think?" Even if it's a crappy team, it's still a payday for someone like a Keenan Allen. But this is why veterans sit out, because there are injuries, there are things that happen. Unfortunately, human beings are breakable, and this is what happens. But guys, what do you think about this signing? Do you remember Nyheim Hines, when he was with the Bills and the Colts? And, what are your thoughts? Is this a camp body? You think it's something more than that? As always, Andrew Bolt. See you guys in the next one.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast.